Hey yo, we are back at the modified shop and I'm still at the mercy on the shippers. Ordered a bunch of stuff because they just don't keep it in stock anymore in the parts houses. So I've gotten this far. I have my disc brake adapter and my hub polished. I'm about to show you why. Working on this right now though. If you notice, that's 6 lug, that's 8 lug drum brake. About to make a 6 lug disc brake for the back of PreRunner Project Silverado. So let's take the axle out. I believe my battery's about to die. One more. You got one more in you. Yeah, look at that. So this is a full float axle. It's a 14 bolt out of a 62 Chevy C30, which is more heavy duty than the 67 and 2010 because the axle tubes are made into the housing like a Ford 9-inch. So I really won't have to strengthen anything on the back axle where the other ones are stamped and crimped in or welded in right here, and then you got to put a gusset across. It's kind of already built into this axle. There we go. So I had a thinner screwdriver, but slide this out this way. 17 spline giant axles, love it. Now you got to undo all the nuts and the locking rings inside of here. Then you can slide the whole hub off. Yes, they make nuts or sockets there that'll get this off, but when you work on boat trailer axles, you just learn how to get it done. There's going to be your lock ring, and then your backing nut. Once you break it loose. So the new hub that I'm going with is off of a 67 to 2010, and this axle is a 60 to 66. So everything's a little larger than it was 67 and later, but it's only 0.02 of an inch. So I'm going to sand 0.02 of an inch off this hub to get the new bearings to fit where the old ones were, because this is an Eaton axle, and the hubs that I got are for a Chevrolet axle or a Dana axle. But I got to go with this big beefy one because I think it's just going to be awesome. So next, we get to beat the hub off of it. This is what they mean by beat the brakes off of it. There we go. It got rusted up. So I'm not going to take anything out of that drum. I need to sand down where the axle rides, 0.02 of an inch and 0.02 of an inch. Ah, the battery. More lively now. Yeah, baby. $1962. Don't need those no more. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean all this up. I'm not gonna do this on camera because it just takes forever. It's gonna be the rest of the day. But a little bit of time, I'm gonna get some emery cloth, just go around it and whittle 0.02 of an inch down. I'll get my caliper to measure. This is the same size for the seal, but the bearings are smaller. So here's the new 6 lug. I got the first race pressed in. I'm waiting on the snap ring because the one that comes with it's too big, and I tried cutting it down. It's just not working because it's oblonged. It's not circle. So I'm waiting for the new ones of those to come in. Then I can pop my new race in the rear bearing and slide it on. So off the other side, it's the same. 6 inches deep. Very similar to the roundness, just larger bearings for a larger axle. So it'll work just fine. So here's the issue that I have. These are the bearings that fit in this new hub. The other one's still in the box. I just got it to show you the difference. This is what the company said fits. It's a Timken Set 38 hub and race. So yeah, this will just fall completely through. It's way smaller. So the inside of this bearing measures 1.99 with my caliper, and that side of this measures 2.02. So it's 3/1000ths of an inch I have to shave off of this. It fits over the threads no problem, but just dead stops. Same thing with the inner bearing. This is kind of conical shaped. It's been worn over the years, but it's a good flat spot. So pretty much have to shave from about here up. So with all the brakes off and all the old stuff out, here's the old off of the other side, and this is the new one. It converts 8 lug to 6 lug, so I don't have to get any new wheels. Bolts on just the same, and then my axle fits right over the front with all the correct lock nuts and everything. This one's partially put together. I'm waiting on a snap. I don't even have the studs pressed in, but this is what I'm going with. They are, like I was showing you before, they are the same. Same length, same face. Everything's gonna work out just fine. I have a set of disc brakes I'm gonna get the center shaved out of that are 6 lug off the front of these GMT 800 trucks that I'm not doing anything with, and that's where I'm at with it. So I'm gonna get the sanded on this. I don't feel that recording is necessary, but I'm just gonna basically just go around it with emery cloth 80 grit until it gets small enough that this fits over it nice and tight. Cleaning it all up while I'm doing it. Oh, like a glove. No wiggle. That's it. 2/1000ths of an inch. Sanded off this 1962 Eaton HO72 axle. I have accomplished something with sandpaper that I just can't believe. There it is. And they fit nice and tight, gorgeous and straight. So, waiting for retainer clips to show up, and I'll be able to put the hubs on, slide the axles back in and fill it up with oil, and then weld the perches on. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do overspring or underspring on this axle, so I want to do overspring, I believe, because the truck engine and transmission's in it. I haven't moved it. It looks to be sitting pretty level, maybe a hair higher in the front. So if I was to roll it forward and back, it might let the front suspension settle a little bit. This truck is up there for a 2-wheel drive. And it's got a 3-inch shackle drop in the rear. I could take the shackle drop off and put the axle on top of the spring. And so it has been like 2 weeks since I started this video. We are doing an exhaust revamp on Project Ballin. I made this. Got a, starts at the Y pipe, comes back 3-inch to a selectable flip mode exhaust system. So it'll come and go straight through, or it'll muffle. Got a flow monster. It's kind of like a MagnaFlow. It's just a perforated tube with packing on both sides. And now we'll be able to have it, I guess you could say, neighborhoodable and ignorant. So that's being made. We have the transmission now. We're changing the torque converter to a higher stall. We're going with a 2800. Just want a little more hit out of it. And fixing the rear main seal. 80 PSI, about 3 months, and just started leaking out the back. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But while it was apart, I guess I should have changed it. It's leaking like a sieve. So new rear seal, new torque converter, same transmission going back in it. Project Ballin's gonna be back on the road with flip mode exhaust. But now back to what I started in the first place. This is the 1962 Eaton HO72 1-ton Chevy C30 axle that was 8 lug, and now it's 6 lug. And I had to go find a whole list of parts. New seals, new bearings, new races, and I had to shave that down 2/1000ths of an inch to get this to slide over. And once I put the lock nuts and all in the front, there'll be no slack in that hub. This side I kind of have the brakes mocked up. These are the front calipers off of Project Slick Dog. And the brackets, these bolt right in. And the brackets make it possible to run discs on the rear of this axle. So I had that covered up. So let's go ahead and throw this side, or I guess this side, together. It's all here in the box. I got the Timken bearing. I'll give you the numbers and all. This is a set 38. I guess that's the outer bearing. Here's the new seal. Seal numbers are 2846. The same ones that came out of those hubs. These hubs, that hub. The other ones are up here. I'll go through it in a second. But I've been busy these past couple weeks. Just haven't had the parts to finish this video, and I'm still waiting for 2 sensors to finish the wiring harness on that, so I can get it started and get the exhaust going on it. It's just been like a whole bunch of hurry up and wait. So I'm just kind of like shipping's just been holding me up, but you know, staying busy, just not making videos. So this has been sitting in a box for like 3 years. I was not able to use any of the bearings that came out of that axle. This is for a 67 to 2010 or 19 or so. It goes a long range. All right, so these have been in the freezer, so they're cold. I shrunk them a little bit. That way I can drive them inside of this axle adapter here. And the way it goes in, you have the rears and the fronts. Keep them in this bag so they don't get dirt and stuff up in them. But the front one kind of goes in, and the race goes over it like that. So be careful when you tapping this in that the bearing doesn't bounce up and you end up bending the cage. Ask me how I know. And the race with the flat up. It's 76 millimeter. It fits right inside of there perfectly. And you don't want to go too far, but drive it nice and firm and straight. So I'm right at the point where it has to go past the spot where this snap ring goes in. The original snap ring that I pulled out of the other hub was so large I couldn't even cut it down to make it fit. It used to have 2 ears, and I tried to cut it so I could crimp it a little bit closer, but ended up just touching on 3 points instead of the whole thing. And for the stupid crap I'm about to try to do with this truck, I'd rather have the entire thing. I'll give you the part number of this when I get to it. It's the next part. To tap this in the rest of the way, and I'll show you what I'm talking about if I can get the camera in there. Almost. Making sure the bearing stays nice and loose so you don't crimp the cage on it. You know what? I bet I'm touching the bearing. That's what I flipped this over so I wasn't touching the bearing. Yep, that just catches on the outside and will allow me to knock it in the rest of the way. That sounded a lot better. Just keep it centered up. Little taps. I'm starting to see where the retainer sits in. That's it. This is what I was having such a problem with. In here, grab my pointer. In this track right here, you can see there's a groove. And I got the race driven straight down in there, and the bearing is nice and free. It can move. This one part right here. This is the front bearing race retainer for this style hub, and it just looks like this, and I can get my needle nose in here and pinch this in and pop it in place. So if any of y'all are having trouble finding parts, because it took me 2 weeks to track this down because not any store had this part number retaining ring. That is the correct retaining ring for this adapter hub, and I got these extra length that don't get wider needle nose, fit right in there. So get it as close as you can. Get you your little helpful pusher tool. That's it. Ting. Right into place. So in here, you can see a little pointer dude. That ring retainer is snapped in place all the way around 360 degrees. And I know when I tighten up the nut on the front side, it's not going to want to push that race back in, and I'll be able to torque these hubs down properly. The whole axle put together in this video because apparently I need K20 front brakes. I have K10 front or C10 front brakes for the axle here, and there's a little piece that hangs off the bottom. It won't let it mount up to the bracket adapter correctly, but at least I can get this put together and on, so I don't have to worry about these being out in the air and rusting. So the front bearing goes in like this, the back bearing goes in like this, because you want to be able to sandwich them together, kind of like a trailer axle goes in. So with the race to the outside, this is going to pop into place. And what I used to do this was the old one out of the other hub is slightly larger. I can grab a 65 millimeter and the old bearing. This would be a 37A. The old seal out of the other hub, same part number, 28426 axle hub. So I can grab the old bearing, and this fits, I mean, perfect right on it. So I can actually use this old stuff to punch the new stuff in. Because I don't have a press and everything to do it 100% correctly, drive it in straight with this till you hear it go kapow and it's set. Now the new bearing, the place that starts with the N, this is not sponsored, had them in stock, 13 bucks. So with this driven in place, let me make sure it's down all the way, now I can put this on and it goes with the big side down. So you want to be able to see the part numbers, and I can drive this in. I'm sure there's a better way than I'm going to do it, but I just grab the side of my heavy hammer, kind of get it started, just walk it around. That way I know it's flat in there. So then the other thing I did is I had a bunch of these front bad bearings off the 1500 Chevys. I just knocked the studs out. Boom. Didn't have to go buy axle studs. I always have a bunch of these bad bearings hanging around, so that's that. I'll just go around with my heavy hammer and get them started. And they're not drawn all the way down. Some of them are, but I'll get them to rust away with the lug nuts. But there's the bearing. Spins nice and free. Got plenty of room for wiggle. Back bearings in. It's got plenty of room for wiggle. These are C10 brakes off a Slick Dog. And if you noticed, where the hose goes in is touching the bracket. So I can't use these. I thought I could. I need K20 calipers. Slide pins are the same. So this slides on this direction. I'm gonna rotate it kind of to the back, so to the front. So as the wheel spins, it kicks all the trash to the back, and the brakes stay clean. I'm also gonna put a handful of bearing grease in here before I decide to put it together permanently. And that's it. No slack. Nice and tight. They say you need Dana 60 6-lug front disc brakes to go on the rear of this axle now with some K20 calipers. So I have to order that before I put it together completely. But that's it for the most part. So, go ahead and put the lock nut and the backing plate in, but I've got plenty threads in there. And then the axles are these big old 17 splines. This side is shorter than that side because of the offset of the ring gear. But I will get the correct calipers ordered. Got this side on. It hits the bracket. Can't use them. But this side fits just the same. Everything spins, rotates nice and free. Kept my lock nuts in the order that they came off correctly. But there is the heavy duty, big old 11.5-inch ring gear Eaton HO72 for PreRunner Project Silverado. Seals just fit perfect. Look at that. So that's about all I can get done in this video. I wish I could have gotten more accomplished. I'm still waiting on a cam position sensor and a crank position sensor so I can do the wiring on PreRunner Project Silverado. I'm gonna weld and cut them off of there. I'm gonna weld 2 new perches, get my brake brackets mounted correctly, and order the correct disc rotors for these adapter hubs. But now that 8-lug axle went from this junk to 6-lug. Appreciate y'all watching Modified. I try to get up a video once every week unless I got shipping problems. Catch y'all next week. Thanks for watching. Later.